I didn't see you there. My name's Jenna, and I'm out on the ancient Mongolian steppe, and definitely not just my backyard. And today, we're going to talk about the many modern misconceptions about Mongol marriage, and the multiple maladjusted mentalities meant to make mockeries of meaningful Mongol mannerisms. Make sense? It's a hard life out here on the steppe. It's ride or die, kill or be killed. It's nerf or nothing. It's a life that middle-class North American university 20-somethings can hardly imagine. But just because a culture is different than ours doesn't mean that that culture is inherently barbaric, less advanced, or otherwise inferior to us. I don't want to get political, but I believe that everyone should be treated with basic human decency, even if they're a little bit different than us. Throughout history, Mongols have been consistently stereotyped, from the ancient writers who sometimes portrayed them as dogheads, to modern day depictions where they're portrayed as ruthless killing machines. More specifically, there are a lot of misconceptions about Mongol marriage, and there's a lot of judgment thrown at them for their customs. For more on this, let's go to a Mongol expert. Hi, it's me, Jenna, again, and I'm the Mongol expert. Let's clear one thing up. Incest is bad. Hot take, I know, but we're gonna kind of be delving into this issue, so I just wanted to establish that first. So in our culture, in the modern day, marriage relationships between blood relatives is a bit... Both incest and polygamy are criminalized here and now, but in Mongolian culture it was more commonplace. So I'm not trying to defend incest, rather I'm here to attempt to end the stigma about this aspect of Mongolian culture. I simply want to shed light on Mongolian reasoning for such marriages, because I think that people often cite Mongolian polygamy and consanguinity to imply that they must have been sick, dumb savages. In other words, I'm just attempting to give the Mongols a platform to defend their style of marriage vicariously, because they were certainly quite fond of it. All of us can agree that incest is bad, but I think that we need to stop using the fact that Mongols engaged in blood relative marriages to push the narrative that they were savages. Mongol definitions of incest were concerned with the male line, not the female line. So, a man couldn't marry his child to his brother's child, but a man could marry his child to his sister's child because he wasn't related to the father of that child by blood. By modern standards, this is marriage between first cousins either way, but to Mongols it was a bit different. So, just to summarize that again, they were concerned with male lineage, not female lineage. That's what they think counted, or was legitimate, or whatever terminology you want to use. They were concerned with the male line and not the female line. In Mongolian society, intermarriage was seen to have many benefits. Through intermarriage, children could marry into the royal family and stay there generationally if they played their cards right. If you had kids in a strategic manner, all of those kids could become very powerful through intermarriage. By the way, a lot of this information came from a really great article by BROADBRIDGE, and that will be in the description of the video. Basically, Mongol marriage as a whole is a strategic affair. We do have evidence of actual, love, like with Genghis and Borte and their whole dramatic story. But marriage was often a means to justify an end. Male children of the Khan were powerful no matter what. They were given land, titles, and power. For example, we know that Ogadai, Genghis' son, went on to do quite a lot, which I won't get into here. For daughters, though, power was not inherent. It came with a condition: marriage. For example, we can look at the case of Chechi-Yegin. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm going to put it on the screen. Chechi-Yegin, I think that's how I'm going to say it. Sorry if that's wrong. So Chechi-Yegin was Borte's fifth born, and her marrying off brought the Oirat people under Genghis' rule. Chechi-Yegin went on to have 7 children, and through marriages she had connections to really powerful people like Mongay and Hulagu, just to name a few. Marriage was an incredibly important aspect of Mongolian culture. You didn't marry your husband because you loved him, necessarily. You married your husband because that would give your father access to a sizable amount of land and a lot of civilians to either kill or tax. Or you married your husband because he was your first cousin, and if you had a son, he would have a chance at being the Great Khan. Maybe you married your husband to stop war from breaking out. Maybe you married your husband because his great aunt is the wife of a Khan. Maybe you married your husband for love. It's all very complicated and shouldn't be boiled down to little stereotypes. I don't think we should look at Mongol marriage and be like, haha, one of that guy's many wives is his first cousin, because that furthers the notion that Mongols were somehow sick, primitive people. The reality is that these marriage alliances were strategic moves employed in the hope of expanding an empire. A single marriage could tip the power balance of the entire steppe. And I don't think we should discredit the Mongol customs just because it's so drastically different than our own. I don't think it's funny that some of these men and women were essentially forced into marriages that were potentially uncomfortable while simultaneously being imperative to the success of an entire empire. I think that it's something we can't even imagine or comprehend, and I don't think we should just make fun of it so easily. I know it's quite different. And yeah, like, it's incest. I don't know what to tell you, it is. But I don't think we should just negate the entire thing on that basis. We have to think, there were human beings involved in this. And, they were doing very powerful things for very powerful people. And it's not just two people coming together and getting married, it's entire kingdoms that are involved with it. So I think before we make fun of somebody for being married to their blood relative, we have to think about the circumstances around that and see what their culture was like. So again, I'm not defending incest. I'm just saying. Thank you for joining us on our deep dive about ancient Mongolian life. Be sure to tune in next week for an episode about ancient Mongolian hunting practices.